Greetings, Hotep. This is your brother Kepra Patah. And today I wanted to cover the idea of the herd mentality. And the question is, why is it that we continue to do what everybody else wants us to do, but we don't quite fulfill what it is that we want to do? Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because we have been indoctrinated to believe in popular opinion and what the collective tells us to do, what the news and the media, the hip hop artists, not to say I don't like hip hop, I love me some hip hop, but I'm talking about those who have been made popular, the crazy reality shows, and how those influence us to think a certain way, to get us to conform to popular opinion and not think for ourselves, and not come up with the creative ideas that can free us, that could set us free from economic, mental, physical, and spiritual bondage. Now, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself. We live in a society that strives to make you feel ashamed of who you are, unless you're living up to some consumerist culture or some identity in which they have created for you. And we have to come up with our own creative expression. This is what makes you godlike. This is what gives you the divine ability to be creative. This is what will set you free. Because each and every one of us was blessed with the divine spark of creativity. But you would never be able to express that creativity as long as you're going along with what everybody else tells you. We've been taught to love everything outside of ourselves and look for everything outside of ourselves. But we have not been taught to be creative. And why is that? Because we live in a society of consumerism where they want you to be a consumer. And based on the fact that you are a multi-dimensional being and you consist of a mind, body, and a spirit, you have this craving for something other than this, which is why material things can never satisfy you. I'm not telling you to not go and get that nice car or try to get that nice house or get those nice shoes. I'm not telling you that at all. But what I am saying is that they are not the things that make you who you are. In fact, it'll be ideal is if you can create some of these things yourself. And this is what the populace are not being taught. And there is a lot of profit that's being made by big business to keep you in a certain way of thinking, to make sure that you never feel like you're good enough, and that you're always giving your power away, and that you're making the agreement that since I'm not good enough, I got to do whatever I can to keep up with the Joneses. And that is ignoring the divinity within you, because you're not here to keep up with the Joneses. Well, maybe you're not. And then again, who knows? Maybe you are. But I will tell you, not everybody is here to do the same thing. There are people who believe that life is all about going to school, getting a 9-to-5 job, getting married, and retiring. Okay, and perhaps that's perfectly fine for them. But for those who want something different, you're here to make a difference in the world. Perhaps you're here to invent. You're here to teach. You're here to help others heal and to give an example of what it is like to be a beacon of light and to show and prove who you are as a divine being. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are living in fear. They believe in this whole idea that if other people don't accept me, then I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough. If they do not accept me, I cannot receive the love in which I'm seeking. So therefore, what they do is that they will go along with a herd or a group mentality. And this mentality is reinforced. They're made to feel inferior by other people who have an inferiority complex. And the way to break past that feeling of inferiority is to find that element of you that makes you unique and come up with ideas and bring these ideas from outside of you onto the objective realm. Now, a lot of people stay in line and let opportunities pass them by simply because they're too scared of what other people's going to think about them. You're going to find yourself nodding to what other people say when you don't agree with them. That's quite to think about. And people do it all the time. It's like you have given your power away so much that they can do something as simple as bring a pizza into the room. And instead of taking initiative and grabbing the first slice, you just let that pizza get cold because you're waiting for somebody else to grab the first slice. Or, on the other side of the spectrum, you might have went to a meeting where people might have been eating the pizza and there might have been like 3 or 4 pieces left. And because people didn't want to look like a pig, they let those last 3 pieces get thrown in the garbage, knowing that they might have wanted to eat them themselves. I mean, this is how people act because a lot of people are afraid to stand out. However, you are not here to be like everybody else. Everybody has their own unique calling. And what makes you you is when you can align your will with that higher element of your destiny and make it happen. And you will know when you're doing the right thing because the universe will provide you with the energy in order to do so. Now, another example is when you're dealing with who you are and where you're trying to go, and when you're on the right path, you're going to discover that a lot of people that you used to associate with have disappeared. And why is that? Because you have raised your vibration, you're on a different frequency, and you're not on the same channel as these particular folks. So therefore, they're going to move out of your lives, and other people who are more suited, for that type of level that you're on will come into your realm or into your world and help you get to where it is that you're trying to go. You'll discover that there's always somebody out there to help you. However, you have to let go of fear and guilt. Remember this, whenever somebody uses fear, shame, or guilt on you, they're always trying to control you. You have to push past that shit. And you have to realize who you are as a divine being. Because the whole populace who are into the reality shows, the videos, and everything else, they have been taught to go along with the latest fashion and to be comfortable, but they're not taught to tap into that divine element of who they are. You have an opportunity to become a godlike being or a god, or recognize that you are a god, Buddha, Christ conscious, just by letting go of the fear to be expressive and the fear of what other people are going to think about you. Because we have been conditioned by politics, education, and religion to think and behave a certain way. And all of this is what keeps those who we call the controllers in power. Because they love for you to live in fear and ignorance. Every 30 years, they come up with this new reason that the world is going to end. Or, from 1914, the world was supposed to end and it didn't. 1975, the world was supposed to end and it didn't. Year 2000, Y2K, the world was supposed to end and it didn't. 2012, the world was supposed to end in many people's minds and it didn't. How many extensions are we going to get? You see, we have this catastrophophobia and also this group think that reinforces it. And a lot of times this group think, or should I say this herd mentality, has come from the very religious and educational system in which we've grown up in. And a lot of times we don't want to look too different or sound too different from those in which group we're a part of, so we'll go along to get along. In fact, a lot of times you might see that the stupidest people are those who travel in mobs and packs, because they will say and do the stupidest things to be in alignment with that group. Just because 3 or 4 people believe something that's outrageous, they feel that they got to believe it too. And that's the problem that I have with cult leaders and those who are into personality worship, because they're not allowed to really cultivate that divine aspect of themselves. If you want to be liberated, if you want to be free, then you got to get away from the herd mentality and you got to become a beacon of light yourself. Well, I hope you enjoy today's session. This is your brother Kapra Patah signing out. We'll talk to you again soon. Hotep.